Halfway through she asks if I'm ever gonna make a move. I put down my drink, leaned over and kissed her. And yes, I got an A in the class, she got the D. People ask Reddit. Students who've had sex with their teachers, at what point did your relationship turn physical? How do you feel about it now? After graduation, I hooked up with my old history teacher, a few times. I frequently would watch his daughter when he had to work late. I was invited to go camping with the two of them. Let's have a drink to celebrate the beginning of summer. Changed quickly. I ended it very abruptly when his daughter started calling me mom. When I was 17 I got the chance to go to school in the States, born in Greenland, and so I had a senior year here. The English teacher had just gotten the job there according to the other kids my age. But what happened was I needed help just speaking and learning English better, so she said she'd help me out. I'd come in after school and we'd do the flashcard BS, and eventually she started asking me what I thought about American girls and if I prefer blondes, brunettes, and etc. Questions slowly got more personal until she gave me her phone number, told me to call her at 8 and she'll have plans. I was confused as hell, but when I got to her house my other head took over the thinking. Well, I was 17 at the time, not sure how old she was but I would guess early 30s. I always found her attractive but I didn't really think much of it since I never expected anything to happen. I would assume most people wouldn't think anything is going to happen. Students were assigned a guidance counselor for academic questions, and the psychological counselor was in another spot in the school. She was the academic counselor, so occasionally I would go down there and ask whatever it was I needed to know. I'm not very organized, so I'm sure I went down there a few times a year. After a while I would visit just to say hello because she was friendly and I was a 17-year-old who got the attention of an attractive woman, so come on, give me a break here. Anyway, I go down there one afternoon and say hello and chat a little, and after a while she asked me how my dating life is going. Well, to be honest, not very well. I'm a quiet guy, not shy but quiet, and I'm just not confident enough as a person yet to really get myself out there. So we talk a little more about dating and why I don't do it, and I go off to class. This goes on for a while, talking to each other about mildly personal things, until one afternoon I go to visit and she asked me what I would assume is the question that changed things. How come you have so much time to visit me? I would stay at least a half hour each time. I don't know why she didn't ask this earlier, but I didn't want to say anything because she was kind of the only friend I had. I don't think she saw it that way, but I did. And I simply said, I like visiting you, so I make time. We sat and talked for over an hour that afternoon. A few weeks go by and I'm walking home as a car pulls up nearby and she gives a little honk and waves. But not the kind of wave like the wave you'd give to a friend or a coworker or whatever. It was a flirty wave, but of course at the time I didn't consider it flirty because that was ducking insane to me. Several more weeks pass and I spot her car, waiting for me now across the street. I wave and start walking, but she leans her head out the window and asks if I need a lift. I say sure, why not? We begin to drive and she says I just need to drop some things off at my apartment, is that okay? My 17-year-old D is having a fit, but my brain is saying don't be ridiculous. That is a fantasy and you know reality is different. She's just giving you a lift, so shut the duck up. I was wrong. We get to her apartment and she says I can wait on the couch. She comes back from some room, sits down, and she starts telling me about how she hasn't been with anyone for over a year and it's affecting her job because she can't concentrate. I say nothing, frozen in hormonal fear. She looks at me in a way I've never seen her do, puts her hand on my leg and says, you know, out of all the students I talk to, I'm the most comfortable with you. She puts her hand on the back of my head, while this entire time I'm frozen. I don't know what to do, what to say, nothing. She tells me to relax, grabs my hand, leads me to her bedroom, and well, the rest is history. Reply? How long did it go on for after? Did it eventually fizzle away? Answer: it went on for a year and a half. After I graduated we still met at the school, but she was starting to want to look to get married and start a family, and obviously I couldn't do that. She didn't want to cheat on anyone, so she told me it was the best year of her life, but it was time to call it off. If you want to support our new channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. We would also love to read some feedback in the comments. Thank you very much. A couple I know met as teacher, M, and student, F, at graduate school. According to her, she didn't ask him out until after the grades were in. According to him, she needed an A, but it's my dad, so he's probably kidding. I had slept with my high school gym teacher after I graduated. I was really overweight and just not pleasant to look at in high school, but I had a huge crush on him. After graduation I lost weight and looked him up on Facebook. I said we should meet up for dinner, so we did. I told him I used to have a gigantic crush on him, which he didn't believe. He said I should go to his place for dinner sometime, and of course I was all for it. I get there and he made a pizza and we had some beer. Then watched TV on the couch for what seemed like an eternity, just talking and joking. That led to cuddling and bam, my hand was on his D. He led me to the bedroom and we proceeded to have some of the best sex I've ever had in my life. Since then he's texted me randomly wanting more. We've exchanged pictures and videos and sometimes called each other for the big O, but never got together again. Conquest complete. Not a teacher but a teacher's assistant. I was a junior in college and she was in her first year of grad school, doubling as a TA. So basically larger classes were always split into smaller sections that had to meet once a week outside of the normal class period. Anyways, I was always pulling solid grades, sat in the front, and would respond to her questions. I later found out that she hated public speaking and was always nervous when she stood in front of our section, so she really appreciated my participation. Plus I was always making jokes and she liked the funny ones. I go to her office hours one day, she helps me out with the paper I was doing and we go eat afterwards. We talked mostly about school and career goals, but also some stuff about the difficulties of dating. And then we go get drinks. And then she was getting way flirty and touching my arms and legs. I end up walking her to her apartment building. She tells me to come up and have a nightcap with her. Halfway through she asks if I'm ever gonna make a move. I put down my drink, leaned over and kissed her. We wound up having sex shortly after and we kept it up for the rest of the school year. And yes, I got an A in the class, she got the D. I'm a male faculty member at a community college. About 7 years ago I had this student in my introduction class. She was inquisitive, motivated, and very attractive. I usually give my students nicknames, secretly, as a device to help me remember them. And I remember writing on my attendance sheet Jasmine, because she looked just like the Disney princess. I was always very professional and careful to treat her like any other student so she didn't feel uncomfortable, as I was sure she might feel that way around the other drooling males. Well, she easily earned an A in the course and we left for summer break. Fall semester starts up and she is in my advanced level class. She sits in the front row, and again was one of the top students in the class. She was also one of the slowest students to pack up her belongings after each session, so we usually walked out together casually talking about the exciting parts of the lesson. About week 13 out of 15, she approaches me and tells me that she has a question she needs to ask, and if she can meet with me for 5 minutes or so. I was careful to meet only in public on campus because of the great stigma between attractive students and their professors. We met on a bench and she professed that she liked me and wanted to go on a date. I refused politely and stammered something about school policy, despite every molecule on my body chastising me for rejecting. After the class we became friends on Facebook, and she had recently taken some modeling photos and posted them on her profile. Well, that was too much for me and I sank into despair, wondering if I made a mistake in choosing my career over the perfect partner. Then, over the break she emailed thanking me for the class. I immediately emailed back, doling out praise to her. She then immediately emailed me back saying that she left the college and enrolled in the university. We met up and had our first date not long after. We're currently married and have been together for almost 7 years. She is the best thing to happen to me and I would have quit my job had I known what life would be like. However, now I have both. I feel that being a professor was what impressed her, because she is out of my league. Education pays. Banged out my English teacher after graduation in her minivan in the middle of nowhere. We had gone for drinks and things went from there. She was married. Unfortunately for me, the van got stuck in mud and we called for a tow. Ironically, the tow guy was a firefighter who worked with her husband. Things went downhill from there. Edit, of course. My top Reddit comment is about sex with my teacher. And regardless of the moral implications of what happened, as I don't condone infidelity, her husband was an abusive alcoholic she was separating from. Doesn't make it okay, but things aren't so black and white when you're young. Later, guys. In grad school I was an research assistant for a professor in her late 30s. Brilliant woman. Gorgeous redhead. Lots of sexual tension, you could tell there was mutual attraction. Our relationship gradually veered into the personal. We would get lunch, drinks together, talk about personal things. Deep shit like the purpose of life. Her husband, also a professor, was away for the week on conference. We had a meeting to discuss a project of mine. She rescheduled to her home. I had an idea what might be up. I arrived to a cliché. She opened the door in a robe, naked underneath, dropped the robe once we got inside. She looked me in the eyes and asked me if I wanted to go to bed with her. We had a sexual relationship for the 2 years until I graduated. I graduated and haven't seen her since. My career took me away. How do I feel about it now? Don't think of it that often. When I do, I miss her, as a person, not just the sex. One of the few people I've actually considered to be a friend in my life. One of the 3 women I've developed feelings for. Thank you for listening to another B-Town Reddit Stories episode. Hit the subscribe button and check out our channel for more stories. Let us know your opinion about this topic in the comments.